All right, we are here today to find out how to accelerate productivity and growth using some time management structures. So, welcome. I'm just going to get my slideshow. First, let me share the screen. Share the screen. Here it is. And from beginning, start my from beginning. There we go. Can you, Diana, can you see the screen?
Very well.
Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so I don't know if you know very much about me, but my education is in graphic design, and my work background is in finance. And I led a course in management and leadership for an international training and development company for 6 years. And I was fortunate in that I was able to train myself to cause success with other people. I became really good at that. So I authored a book called Success Without Stress, a roadmap for busy people, which is part of what this workshop is based upon. I'm a master organizer and time manager. Yeah, I have a number of gifts. I call myself a master, a jack of all trades, and a master of many. And if I can see it, I can make it happen. And I'm very passionate about championship results, so I like to support people in having those kinds of results. And you can stop me at any time and ask me any questions. So Diana, I love that you're here. And what brought you here? Or what would you do if you had extra time?
Time management or bringing my time productivity at the most optimal state is one of my goals in 2018. I do many things, as you mentioned, for yourself. However, I'm learning to focus myself and my time and my energy to things that really are in alignment with my purpose. So I'd love to hear and to get some takeaway tonight on tools, practices, which will enforce and make me more aware of my behaviors or changes that I need to make to have time for. I'm very much interested in life balance for
Awesome.
work, business, and fun.
Awesome. So I'm excited because I'll definitely be able to help you with that.
Thank you.
So the intention is that you leave here with a sense of peace about your day. I know that you're a busy person, and the truth is we're all busy except for the time that we're sleeping, right? Some of us might try to cram more things into our day than others, or we're rushing around from things to things, but we're all busy except for the time that we're sleeping. Not to diminish the fact that you're busy, but we want to be having the work-life balance, the calmness, the peace as we get things accomplished. So one of the things that I really love about my system that I created is that it's not a priority-based system. There are a lot of systems out there and they all work and they're all valid. Many of them are priority-based systems. And with a priority-based system, you're always working on those things that, or very often working on those things that are about to become fires, if you will, or they're about to become emergencies or things that have to be done. In my system, I like for you to get everything done so that things never become an emergency or a have to, that you get them done in a time frame that works for you and gives you peace inside your heart. So whether you're meeting a $50,000 client or you're doing laundry, doesn't really matter. You have to get it all done. So that's what I love about this system. And there's a person, you could say that she's busy and she's managing it all. This is the graphic from the cover of my book. All right, so today, what I wanted to do with you is to go through the top 10 rules for time management, and then take some. I listed it here as Q&A, but to talk about how you could use them in your life and implement them in your life. For some people, so rules are usually very rigid, and it's either this way or that. It's either this way or it's not this way. With my rules, there's an element of being able to flex a little bit with them. And so in talking with what you're dealing with or what you bring to me in the Q&A, I'll be able to support you in a whole brand new way. Ready to roll? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So success is the execution of an action marked by the achievement or attainment of a desired result or goal. And so I promise that if you implement some of these rules and distinctions, you'll fit it all. You will fit everything in, and it'll give you an element of peace. So rules provide a pathway to navigate the busyness of life and provide for peaceful, stress-free living. And I put this slide in there because very often people get triggered by the word rules. And rules are really guidelines. And the best example I could give of that is a four-way intersection on the street. Because if there was no traffic lights and no rules for the road, there would be absolute chaos. So there are times when rules are actually function and has us function as a society. So if rules trigger you, think of them as guidelines. And instead of rules for time management, think of them as guidelines for commitment management. So rule number 1 is to make your agenda your new best friend. And I say agenda, I use the word calendar, I use the word your phone, wherever it is that you keep your calendar. It might be a hard copy agenda book, it might be your phone. But I say make it be your new best friend because you want to tell your new best friend everything, right? So when you have good news or not so good news, the first thing you do is you call up your best friend and you let them know that. So by the same token, if you have something to put in your calendar, you don't want to wait 5 hours and hope that you're going to remember to put it in, but you want to put it into your calendar in a timely fashion, in the same way that you would tell your best friend something. And don't worry about capturing all the rules. I will send them to you. Okay. Rule number 2 is not to rely on your memory. Very often we say, oh, I'm better remember to. And then a little while later, there's another I better remember to. And then you've got this hamster wheel going on inside your head, go, I better remember to, I better remember to, I better remember to. And as the day goes on, it gets really fast until you have one more better remember to, and then you trip and you fail or you forget something. So if you put everything into your calendar right away, there will be no having to rely on your memory. And not only that, you'll learn to trust this thing called your calendar. Your schedule, your calendar, your agenda. You'll learn to trust it because you'll know that you have everything in there. Which ties right into rule number 3, which is to put everything into your calendar. The only thing that I really don't put into my calendar is my sleep. And because I know I'm not going to schedule a meeting in the hours that I'm going to sleep. I'm not going to schedule grocery shopping at 2 o'clock in the morning. But everything else pretty much in my life is scheduled. I don't get bogged down with small incremental occasions. So my smallest occasion is 15 minutes. So if I'm going to do phone calls for 15 minutes, I might put phone calls for 15 minutes, and then in the notes section, I'll put the people that I'm going to be calling. So if they're 5-minute calls, I'll put the names of 3 people in that section. So I don't have to make 3 occasions called. Call Mary for 5 minutes, call John for 5 minutes, and call my daughter for 5 minutes. I'm just putting phone calls, and you put the 3 for 15 minutes, and then you put the 3 people that you're going to call. I'm using the example of 15 minutes, but it could be if somebody's in a home business, they could be doing sales calls for an hour, and they know who they're going to call in that hour. So rule number 4, guideline number 4 is to create events that are long enough to fulfill what you need to. Very often we put things in our calendar and we know that it's going to take us 2 hours, but we say, oh no, I'm going to get it done in 1 hour. And it's very unrealistic. It's a great thing to aspire to, but it could be unrealistic. So first of all, you're setting yourself up for rushing through that hour to get it done. And you don't want to spend your whole day rushing. The idea is to bring peace and balance to your life. So you want to make occasions that are long enough. That's not to say that if you want, you could try scheduling an hour and 45 minutes for that 2-hour event, and then you take on being intentional. And then when you find peace within an hour and 45 minutes, you can cut doing that thing down to an hour and a half until such time as you get to that hour. But to just take an event and cut half the time off in the hope that you're going to get it done in that time is being unrealistic with yourself, and you're setting yourself up to not fulfill on something during the day. Ultimately, and the truth is that we all only have 24 hours in a day. You, me, and everybody successful out there did not get a bonus from the universe of an extra 6 hours. We only have 24 hours. So how we deal with that 24 hours is going to be what determines whether we have work-life balance and success, whatever success means to you. Rule number 5, put an alarm at 10 minutes before every occasion or event starts. Now, do you use use your phone for your calendar, or do you use a paper agenda book?
Both. And this is where I am deciding which one works best for me, Mimi, because I don't like the digital much. I'm going more towards paper for whatever reason.
Okay.
I use them both right now.
Use them both. Okay. Well, so I'm going to tell you about some of the things that I like about an electronic calendar versus a paper calendar. And don't get me wrong, I've had paper calendars since I'm 14. So I've only recently switched, when I say recently switched to a calendar that was electronic, was probably in the last 5 or 6 years or so. So, and one of those reasons is rule number 5, which is to put an alarm at 10 minutes before every event starts. I love being able to have an electronic alarm. And in that 10 minutes, the whole purpose of that alarm is to let you know that you only have 10 minutes left to do whatever it is that you're doing, right? So you're either finishing up what you're doing, putting the finishing touches on it. You might be packing it up and then taking out the next thing that you're doing. So that's the purpose of the 10-minute alarm. If you're using a paper agenda, you would want to, every time you started a new task, you would want to somehow set an alarm. You could use your phone at that point to set an alarm for 10 minutes before the end of the occasion. So you're using your phone in conjunction with your paper calendar. Rule number 6 is not to ignore your alarms, because that's how your new best friend talks to you. If you want so this also helps you get out of your head needing to remember stuff. If you have a sound or an alarm that's letting you know that you have to move on to the next thing, you don't have to worry about it or think about it. And if you're doing it 10 minutes before the end, you know that you still have enough time to finish up, or maybe you want to take a bathroom break. Maybe you want to grab a cup of tea. Like, you have that time, and you can still be intentional about being on time for leaving to go somewhere and getting somewhere on time, whatever that is. Rule number 7. Now, if an alarm goes off and you have not finished your task in the 10 minutes that's left, you can do one of the following. Firstly, you can schedule another event that is long enough to finish the task. So at another time when you have that available time, or you can reschedule the upcoming event and continue working on what you're doing. So it might actually even look like, oh, I'm going to work on this for an extra 15 minutes, which would mean you'd have to take the upcoming event and find another 15 minutes for it. But in that 10 minutes, you're creating it within that 10 minutes so that it gives you power, and you know that you're not left having stepped over something that you now have to manage at another time. Rule number 8 is to schedule 15 to 30 minutes of emergency time every day. And this is another thing that really works when you have an electronic calendar, but it can work with a paper calendar too. And I say 15 to 30 minutes of time because most people don't know how to fit in more than 30 minutes of emergency or breakdown time every day. The idea is to schedule the time near the end of the day. Let's say, let's call it the end of the workday. So call it about 6 or 7 o'clock at night, or 5 or 6 o'clock at night. It could even be if you go to work between 4:30 and 5, in that realm of time. But let's say you're working on something, and somebody gives you a call, a client gives you a call, and now you're on the phone with the client instead of doing that thing that you said that you were going to do at that time. Well, you're not going to tell the client that you're too busy. You're going to speak to the client. That becomes one of those things that you need to do. But in the emergency time that you've built in, you could now either finish that thing that you were doing, or you could move that emergency time up to the time where you are now and move your upcoming occasion that you are going to move into the emergency time. But you now have the time slot available if you have that kind of a breakdown. Does that make sense?
Or is it like a buffer time? A buffering time?
Is it like a what?
A buffering time? Like a
buffer. A buffering time would be another way to look at it. Right? And if you don't have any breakdown time and you don't need the buffer time, then you have that amount of time to do whatever you want. You know, for some people, it's be with their family. For other people, it would be to catch up on their, few hundred emails. Or like, you get to say whatever it is you're going to do in that time. When I put my emergency time in, I put in 2 occasions of 15 minutes. Like I wouldn't, if I was putting 30 minutes of breakdown time in a day, I don't put it all in one section. I create two occasions. Sometimes I create 3 of 10, depending on my day, so that I can move them around sufficiently. So rule number 9, create a weekly event of no less than 1 hour to do something to get away from it all. So we all have our work life and we have our family life, but we so very often forget that just because we're away from work and we're with family, we need some time for introspection and for time to be with ourselves. And you might already be doing some of that work. Some people take the time to work out, or to get a manicure, or to paint, or to meditate. All those things are things that you're doing for yourself, and very often by yourself. And the time and the purpose is for you to be by yourself and with yourself. so that you can just have a few moments there of not doing stuff for other people, just doing something for yourself. It's a return to self. And I say no less than an hour. It could definitely be more than an hour, just no less than an hour. Rule number 10. Rule number 10 is to create a weekly event of about 1 hour to review your agenda or your schedule for the upcoming week, and to create a daily event of 15 minutes to review the following day. So I do my weekly event on Sunday, or sometimes I do it on Saturday, but Sunday. And I'm looking for things in the next week that I want to be aware of. So I very often look all the way till the next weekend. I want, if I see that I have a wedding coming up, I'm going to make sure that I'm buying pantyhose during the week. Or when I was married, I made sure my husband had a clean, fresh shirt or a tux or a wedding card or, whatever that is. I might see that I'm going away for the weekend, so I want to make sure I have somebody to feed my cat. I have enough cat food for that person. So you're really looking ahead to see what's coming up so that you can adequately prepare during the week. Your daily occasion is the time when you look to your next day, and you're looking for things that you might want to manage. So are you going to travel by public transportation, or are you taking the car? Do you have to leave early to get gas or change? Or are you brown bagging it, or are you going out for lunch? Do I need an umbrella or a winter coat? Like, these are all things to get presents to, getting present to the weather. Just have your day go a little bit easier. Can I get up at 8 o'clock, or do I need to get up at 6:30? All depends on what your day looks like. So that's the purpose of the 15-minute occasion. The thing I can say is that the time span for both these occasions gets really short the more you practice it. So very often when I'm traveling, as an example, from one meeting to another on public transportation, I'm looking through my phone and I'm checking what's coming up tomorrow, or I'm looking a week ahead to see what's coming up and presencing myself to it. So when I get to that 1 hour occasion or tonight's 15-minute occasion, I've already done the work. So I'm not, it could be when I'm standing in line somewhere, I use that time so that I don't necessarily have to do my daily 15 minutes. And I still look at my calendar before I go to sleep every night, just as a double check. But you can be using that time effectively. So when I go to sleep every night and I look at my calendar, at that point, it's like a 30-second look, because I've already done all that work during the day on my downtime. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so it's not really a break, but I said a lot about a lot of different things. You sat there nicely and quietly and listened to me talk. So what did you get?
I got that. First of all, I love every single navigation. I'm just joking not to call them a rule. I love those directions, and I realize that I am really good at them. Like, I do them naturally without thinking. And it's interesting, like sometimes we do things. And it's great to put them in perspective and to be aware. Like, it gave me a really good short movie of a behavior that I want to integrate, that I want to make it. That if I hadn't made it very consciously so far, I need to be more consciously aware. So it was a great reminder. A few little, to me, what is important? It's just more, I'd love to know technically how you deal, or what has been you mentioned that you use them both. When I said, like, I'm a very digital person. It's not that I don't love the electronic um, usage. Which tool, which app you use or you love the best for the calendar?
Sorry, ask me that question again.
Which app you like the best
Oh,
for
I
your calendar? Because I'm telling you, Gmail is not making to me. Like the Google, I've been trying quite a few and I haven't been quite happy.
okay. I love the Google Calendar,
Okay.
one of the reasons I love it is that I can share it with other people, or I can have other people shared with me. I find that it has a lot of versatility.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. I haven't really looked at too many other calendars because I'm just really happy with the Google Calendar and what it provides.
I love certain features, as you mentioned, and it's Google. It makes it very easy sometimes. It's just when I have to create a new um, event, like I don't find it very user friendly. And that's why I've been loving keeping the planner as well. It's for me, like if I have, especially before sleep, I wouldn't do it exactly before sleep. I like to do certain other routines, but looking at I love my notebook, my planner. It's like very personal, very individual me. Looking at that, it would be, I find it is more yeah, peaceful. It flows for me, Mimi. It's
Okay, no,
something
and I
about
understand that.
it is something about electronics. Of course, I love certain features, reminders, and all that. I still love the hard copy, the planner. The so I'm keeping them both for now. Is it any? Does it create any non-efficiency? What do you think? Keeping them both from your experience?
No, as long as you keep it as up to date as possible. Um, so non-efficiency only in one respect only, and that's with a recurring occasion. So one of the things about an electronic version, if you have the same occasion every week or every month, you can put that in one time and that's it. Whereas with a hard copy, you have to write it over every week or two, or however much into the future you go ahead. Um, that that would be the only thing that I would say.
I'm going to experiment with this.
You're
Uh,
gonna what?
experiment with this, with using them both.
Okay.
Keep using them for a while because I've been intending to go with one. However, there is still loving desire to keep them both. And it was interesting that even today I was tempted to buy the full focus planner. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
So, and like people are loving it. Like it's a hard copy, basically. And I was like, interesting. So the world is going digital and hard copy. So I guess people are um, still trying to find their individual preferences. Um, so Google Calendar is what you use. Okay.
Yeah, and
That.
if you're having problems putting new events into the Google Calendar, sorry, what kind of phone are you using?
iPhone 7.
Oh, you have an iPhone 7, so do I. So to put a new thing in there, there's a plus sign at the top of the calendar if you're looking at your calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hit the plus sign
Yeah.
and then fill in all the things at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The starting time, the ending time, repeat, travel.
Yeah.
And at the end of that all, you would hit done, which will show up once you put things in. And that's how you would add a new event to your calendar.
And I love the fact when people send invites for events like you did, it does go to the calendar.
Yeah.
Like when I have to set up it myself or to enter it myself, this is where I'm not super happy to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's my individual, like it's my design as well.
Right.
I'm all about shortcuts in life. And I respect that. Before I've been wondering. Now I totally respect that. I'm all about shortcuts.
So when you're doing your 15 minutes of time management every day, what you want to do is make sure that your written calendar and your electronic calendar are synced somehow for the following day. So you're not skipping anything. You're not skipping anything. So let's say you're not planning on bringing your agenda book with you when you go out the following day. You want to make sure you have everything you need in your electronic calendar. Or, maybe it's the weekend and you don't want to be anywhere near electronics. You want to make sure that everything for your weekend is in your paper calendar so you don't have to deal with the electronics. Yeah. So that's going to be one of the structures for you inside that 15 minutes every day, is to have those two things somehow sync together in a way that's going to work best for you.
I like that. So for the weekend, I can use the phone as less as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to continue on a little bit, and then I'll ask you some more questions about, what you're dealing with and how I can support you. So one of the things which you may or may not need support with that I'm starting next week is a program called Success Without Stress in 90 Days. And it's an 8-week program where you learn how to take the rules that I've just given you and implement them in your life. Because the truth is that you're not going to change just by listening to a half-an-hour webinar and take, it's not like you're a different person right now than you were a half an hour ago. You have some new things to do and some new things to implement. So my first session is always 2 hours because I give you a bonus exercise on discovering or rediscovering your life purpose. And it's a great exercise that was given to me by a gentleman by the name of John King. A very interesting visionary gentleman. So I start off with that because it's pointless to figure out what you're doing with your time if you're not fulfilling on something that precious to you. Mm-hmm. And then we spend each week, we spend anywhere from 30 minutes, sometimes it could be longer, on implementing more rules. I give you new distinctions. I show you how to take your calendar out on a yearly basis. Maybe you plan your vacation for the next year, or you figure out now when you're doing your shopping for Christmas next year, or when you're getting your oil changed for the summer, or your car tuned up, or whatever that is. You get all those annual events in. So that's the program. If you think it's something for you, or even if you know somebody that you think that it would help, the link is at the bottom there to register. It's only $200 for 8 weeks. So now we're at the Q&A. Do you have anything else that I can support you with specifically in your life, Diana?
It has made me think a lot. And I'm going to reflect and still think about that. So far in my life, time management in terms of scheduling has been working well.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you. What I am being more aware and what I'm intending to really master is being, in terms of behaviors, Like, for example, how do you deal with social media?
How do I deal with social media?
Yeah, time. I don't want to call it distraction because it does get to be a distraction.
Oh, okay.
However, I have my own rules as well when it comes to that.
Right.
It is an issue, so it's a more behavioral issue. So how do you deal with that?
So, um, for me, social media is really a business related activity. I tend to treat my personal page, because everybody has to be part of your personal page to be part of your business page. So somebody advised me about a year and a half ago to treat my personal page as a business page. So when I go onto social media, it's because I want to see what's going on business wise, and I want to know my people. I want to know my tribe, or I'm posting something to know because I want them to know me. So I have a tendency similar to how I work on my events when I'm traveling. When I finish working on my events when I'm traveling, I'm looking at social media. So the other time I look at social media is when I go to the washroom, if I'm going to be in the washroom for a while, or if I'm waiting for somebody, I'm standing in line, or I'm anything where I have those 2 or 3 minutes where I can quickly pull up Facebook and scroll, that's when I look. Um, there are times in my calendar where I have to schedule to post. So if I'm coming up to an event that I'm causing or a program that I want to let people know, I put an event in there like to post on social media on the days that I want to do those postings.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question?
It does. It does. Like, I'm listening to your experience. However, people have different experiences in terms of how much they use. So I'm always very interested to getting feedback from experts like yourself in time management. I'm getting better and better. Like, I schedule my time. I've made a decision to just 12 o'clock before I go to my gym class, or 5 minutes, or when I come home, or during train traveling time. And I'm pretty happy this year. So I think my brain is picking a new behavior. I,
Yay!
I have to. But it's learning. It's learning. I'm finding, because I am a social person as well. People talk, people, but I'm being very good at putting boundaries and respecting my time as well. And considering that I had too many contacts and friends, and from long distance, short distance, reaching out. It's business as well, so I'm getting better and better. So, but thank you. Those little tips, like using for some time, even the bathroom, I love it. I'll get my phone with me when I go.
So, especially with what you're doing and helping people with their human design, what's really important in your business is for people to know, like, and trust you. And social media is a really good way for them to get a sense of who you are based on what you're doing there. And I know you don't like to do a lot, particularly on LinkedIn, but it is a way for people to get to know you, even at a personal level, what you're about. I can look at somebody's page and I can get a sense of what they're about and what's important to them and whether I want to align myself with them or not.
Yeah,
So it's a great tool.
it is. I love social media. I can't tell you enough how. However, I have to be more intentional. For LinkedIn right now, it cannot be more personal than that. Uh, for work-related purpose. However, I have to be the master in that. It
Okay,
requires attention and awareness and discipline, for sure.
awesome. Anything else that I can support you with around your commitment management, time management, fitting it all in?
Right now, I cannot think of any other questions, Mimi. To me, it's a really great awareness. And I'd love people to know about this program. Again, I cannot help thinking about connecting this with human design because I so believe in being very individual. And I have realized that myself, I'm very organized, but not because I am very structured at time management. It's just for me, I don't need to go to a grocery store with a list. I know
Right.
exactly where they are. It's like they're structured. But that means that my head, human design perspective, is very structured by design, by default. I don't get, it's not open. I don't get it from outside. Things are there, all there, and maybe it's easier for me. However, for people with open and different design, it would be very important to know and to start creating from this strategy. It's a system that you teach people.
The system, yeah.
It's a system. So even for myself, I'm going to think and make, I cannot make a decision on the spot. It's not best for me. Um, However, please, am I on your Facebook page, Mimi? I don't think I am. Or
Sorry.
maybe, am I on your Facebook page, on
Yes,
your...
yes, yes, yes. I'm pretty sure you are.
Okay, so have you posted this on your page?
I posted not this program on the page. I may have posted it on my business page.
No,
I haven't posted anything about this program yet because I wanted to do this webinar first.
okay, perfect. I'm just saying so I can follow you on that, like the information and everything. Um, and so I'm able to share it with people.
Okay. I'll also make sure, Diana, that you're part of my group called Opportunities of the Week, because I will be posting opportunities in there that you could use for your business as well as time management things.
And I love that. I love the the newsletter with the opportunities that you had indicated for this year. I already wrote you about that, right? Did you get my email?
No, I didn't get your email.
Oh, and I'm like, how efficient is my friend Mimi? She didn't even. I did reply because I was very impressed.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Very impressed, and I love the fact that you share other amazing events.
Yes,
Uh,
I don't get anything for what I'm sharing. I just things that I think would make a difference for other people.
yes. So you have a page, a business page on that you mentioned.
Yeah, I created a Facebook page recently for
Okay.
that. I'll make sure that I invite you to that group.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome.
That's awesome.
All right. So, did we fulfill on our intention? Did you get value? And are you going to leave here with a sense of peace?
Yes, you see me smiling. I wasn't smiling when I told. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And for you, I know smiling at the end of the day is a big thing.
it is. I was just, first of all, I'm happy. I had a great intention to make it. I'm happy I was here. Um, that I so much believe in the power of awareness
Yeah.
and learning. So, yes, I'm very happy and thank you for sharing all this wisdom. I'd love to follow you and share that with the world because people need, it's in my intention for everyone to be more focused and more intentional in their life with peace, less distraction. That's why my kind of debating with Facebook and social media because it gets on the way of peace if we are not aware.
Right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mimi.
So, and thank you so much for being here, Diana. You made it, right? There were a number of other people that were supposed to be here and who did not make it for whatever reason. But your commitment to constantly wanting to refine, who you are in this world, and being able to fulfill on that which is closest in your heart is what has you be here. And I just want to acknowledge you and let you know that I really appreciate your time and your energy today.
Thank you. Likewise. Everything you said goes back to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're finished today, but if you come across a situation or a circumstance and you're not sure how you want to, how best to manage it, certainly reach out to me either by phone or by email. I'm happy either way. And if you know of anybody that that's overwhelmed or constantly double booking, I'm more than happy to connect with them and see if there's some way that I can help them.
Thank you. Could you please make sure that you check the trash or in your email and you get my email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to for sure. I'm writing it down.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again. Have an awesome evening.
You too. You too.
And we'll speak again soon.
We will. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.